participating in it, but I'm going to take a moment to invite a few friends. If you want to watch, feel free. I'm sure some of you in this movement have thought that I forgot about you. Some of you in this little thing we like to call the constipation of family law reform are going to wish that I would have. Don't think just because I've been silent, don't think because I'm not as active and posting as often as I used to.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voice you are hearing is that of your neighborhood, your friendly neighborhood troubadour, Mr. Donnie Castro. Now, how you doing there, sir? I see you there. So, I actually don't have an invite button for you. Dang. You ready to jump on? It should have came with an invite, but I don't have an invite button. Facebook, what is going on? I don't see anybody else commenting either. And it should have came with an invite for you to be able to join right off the bat. So, I was planning on interviewing Mr. Donnie Castro himself.
Is it because you spelled his name wrong?
No, I tagged him right in it. So, I don't have a button for you to join. I don't know if you're watching from a computer or not. But I can't even make it so you, can you request to join the broadcast? Can you see that? Come on, Facebook. I don't know why this is happening. I can still keep playing the Dark Troubadour's message if you'd like, Facebook, but I'd prefer to talk to the man, the myth, and the legend.
That means for one split second that I'm done. Because I can assure each and every one of you, between getting family business in order, getting my financial business in order, and working on doing some other things, I'm not done yet. I'm only getting started.
Oh, man. Well, I see everybody else has the green button next to their name except you, Donnie. So, I don't know why that is if you're on your computer or whatnot, but I don't know if you have an iPhone. I don't know what it may be. No invite button. Yeah, I have no green button on your name right now. Man. Facebook, what are you doing? How come I can invite everybody but the man that I'm supposed to be interviewing on here? See, I don't know if you guys know who the Dark Troubadour is, your friendly neighborhood troubadour, Mr. Donnie Castro, but again, I've been listening to him for quite some time now, and was planning on having an interview here, but as you can see, I can invite everybody but the man I tagged in this. So, I don't even know what to tell you. But, if you guys haven't, please check out his last video. I'm going to share it right now. So that way, everybody can, if you don't know who he is, go ahead and you can watch his most recent video. Again, I'd still like to know why there's no invite button. Maybe try coming out and going back in, or going out and coming back in. Again, I don't know why it's everybody but him. Everybody but him is able to join on here. I can give you guys some highlights.
2019. approximately 48 hours.
24 now or less.
And yet,
12, 11.
anybody that's been involved in the parental rights movement will see that we yet again have no credible, palpable change ongoing.
And I couldn't agree with you more. Aww. Yeah, Aubrey's still sick. I've been dealing with that all night. The last video that the Dark Troubadour put out, in my opinion, sums up 2018 and even before. Sums up behaviors of people, patterns, things. And Donnie and I, where we would agree to disagree, will show respect and dignity to each other. There's many people in this so-called movement that don't. And one thing I've always admired about Donnie is that he tells it just as he sees it and how it is. And, you know, like I said, been listening to him long enough to know that he's very passionate about this, been affected by this. Very passionate when it comes to articulating his thoughts on problems and giving solutions. So, I was supposed to be interviewing Donnie here. I'm going to sign out and re-sign back in. I'll give it as much time as we need to figure it out. But I can apparently invite everybody but you, which is stupid. So, I'll just keep playing some of your highlights until we figure it out.
We are being led to believe.
Of course, you're going to go smoking this, so...
We're being led to believe that more legislation, on top of the 50, 60, 70 plus thousand laws that this government that threw all of us over about 30 or 40 fucking years ago, we're being led to believe that more legislation to just go and add to the list of what we all know by the dictates of nature and by the Constitution is somehow going to go and secure our rights and our liberties to be equal in the lives of our children.
More legislation. Let's just add more things to the books to complicate, convolute, make it harder to argue. Let's just make it so that now instead of certain individuals that were making money before, these individuals will make money now. These processes, these programs, these groups, in which case brings fraud, brings a whole whirlwind of problems. And Donnie's not wrong. Donnie's not wrong at all. Not in any of this. And if your feelings are getting hurt by any of his words, you're welcome to leave. Sign back in, still no invite. God, look at this. Kendall telling me I'm wrong. Everybody else you can invite. Green buttons. But I can't get Donnie on.
Can you do it this way?
Yeah, no, look.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no add button, no nothing.
Only Pamela is on that list.
Wow.
Or Pam.
One of us is in Facebook purgatory, I guess. It's either you or me, and following this video, I'm going to say it's both of us. So how can we actually have a conversation? And you know what, Donnie? I think I've got the perfect idea. If you're willing to, sir, at some point later this evening, I'll be doing Internet Warlords 2018 New Year's Eve podcast, and you can just call in, and we can have that conversation live on the air for everybody. As much as I would have been honored to have you on this, I can't control internet shenanigans and the conspiracy that is that. I mean, again, as anybody can clearly see, there's no invite button for Donnie here. But again, he's not wrong.
Anybody with even a tenth of an attention span who has been paying attention to the news, who has been paying attention to social media, who has been paying attention to this little circle jerk of advocacy groups.
Donnie's words to me are like a hot knife going through butter. You just appreciate the articulation, the framing of how he articulates his words, and the picture that he paints. And he's got 1,000 brushes that he can use at any given time. And that is one thing I have been always appreciative about the Dark Troubadour.
Where we're seeing hashtags, screenshots, innuendos that's proper for an episode of Jerry fucking Springer instead of actually doing some real reform.
He's not wrong.
Would realize nothing's being done. I see advocates turning on other advocates. I see children being medically kidnapped. I see fathers being arrested for exercising their constitutional right. I see children being placed in foster care that are being raped, beaten, and sodomized. And yet, 28 million of your own children in this country who are without one of their parents are being completely ignored under the radar, while we're led to believe by the flying monkeys in the mainstream media that these poor migrants who are amassing at the Mexican border are somehow higher up on the radar of needing our help.
Can't even take care of our own. But yet you want us to worry about what's over there. Whew, man.
Let me say for the record, outside of the humanitarian issue, if you, sir or ma'am, are one of these individuals filling your news feed, bitching and complaining about these poor migrant children while ignoring the evident fact that our government is committing acts of domestic terrorism,
and might I add, good sir, treason,
against not only moms and dads, but against children here in the United States, you, sir or ma'am, are a fucking traitor to your country.
I 100% wholeheartedly agree.
If any of you continue to believe that pouring money and volunteer time into these organizations whose only sole commitment is to go and try to bring about more additional legislation on top of the legislation that we already have that is going to redress and remedy the tyranny of the judiciary system, and is going to be the Wonka golden ticket that is going to bring your children back to you and allow you to enjoy your liberty and freedom as a parent or as a grandparent to the child that you have been alienated from for financial incentives that are matched on a state and federal level, you, sir or ma'am, are a moron.
Ooh, might I add, ignoramus, idiot, stupid person, dumbass, traitor, treasonous criminal. Interject any word here for the disgusting behavior that you are displaying. And again, the Dark Troubadour is not wrong. He is not wrong. And again, this is just the first 6 minutes of this gem that is the conclusion of 2018 by the Dark Troubadour himself. And it's a shame that I can't get the one person on here that should be on here right now. I see the people commenting. What's up, Agent P? AT, how you doing? I see you there, Pamela. Amy. Mr. Breedlove. Keith. I can get everybody else, Avelia. I can get everybody else. I just can't get the one person that should be on this broadcast. So, with that being said, though, you guys know me and you know what the Internet Warlord's capable of. So tonight on Internet Warlords, it'd be my honor to have the Dark Troubadour himself, Donnie Castro, call in. And I'll make sure he has my number to call in and when to call in. And we're going to have a conversation, and I'm going to go through some of this video here with him and get some of the highlights. Again, you can go to, and I shared the video again, so that way if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you can. But, again, he's not wrong. And he goes, And this is the first 6 minutes. There's still 55 minutes left of this, and if you haven't heard it, it will hurt some of your feelings. It will be a kick in the gut. It will make you realize that it's the same thing in 2018. 2018 has been the same thing as 2017, 2016, 2015, 14. You guys get my point. So when I got the message from the Dark Troubadour that he wanted to go live, I was honored, of course. But of course, Facebook is going to mess with that. And I'm not going to jump down no rabbit hole or conspiracy. But when a man speaking this kind of truth, when a man has been that blatantly honest, I'm just saying.
That is my opinion. It's not spoken for by Americans for Equal Share Parenting. I'm not representing the Father's Rights Movement. I damn sure am not representing No Excuses Entertainment. I am representing me.
Amen.
Now, 2019. My journey in this little fiasco started in 2005. My oldest son will turn 18 next year. And in all this time, I have to wait until he graduates in order to finally be able to have the liberty to make up for the time that I was wrongfully raped and sodomized out of by the corrupt family court system, who's seen more fit to make me a living ATM to pay that Title 4D child support, the same Title 4D child support that's being used to cook the books on a Social Security fund that is fucking broke, because let's face it, basic math says if you're $21.5 trillion in debt, you have no money to spend.
If my bank account says I'm negative $500 and I try to go to the grocery store and try to use that same bank account to buy more groceries, is the store going to accept it? Is the card going to go through? No, it's not. It's not. So the government is the biggest fraud of them all. The government. Now, sure, you've got your leeches, your non-profits, well, as I call them, fraud profits. You've got your individuals out there. And again, this is not to take away from anybody's good works. It's really not. To sit there and think that one person has all the solutions is a farce. It's a fraud. It's a facade. To think there is a golden ticket that beats a silver bullet is a fraud. Now, I'm not saying there can't be support groups, but some of these support groups are not supporting. They're there to extort, exploit, and we've exposed different various groups, people, organizations throughout the years. As those of you know, before I was an internet warlord, the unspoken undertaker was very much a very real thing. People would message me, would you look at this group and tell us what you think? Sure, I'll tell you what I think. I think that anybody that's saying that they've got the answer is a fraud. Anybody that's not willing to put in the work to actually do it is a fraud. With that being said, again, I'm not saying there are not good people out there. There are incredible people that have been dragged through the ringer, the mud, the muck, the war zone, had bullets shot at them. I mean, I'm talking, you name it, they've been through it. Mothers and fathers. But and the one thing, again, I appreciate about the Dark Troubadour is that he has never once deviated from the facts that what happens to fathers. Again, acknowledging it happens to mothers. And nobody doesn't. But not anywhere near the rate as it happened to fathers. In fact, for those that don't know, the Violence Against Women Act expired with this last shutdown. Oh my God. VAWA. Passed in 1994 by the Clinton administration, signed into law. The #1 genocide of men in our nation's history, VAWA, which gave women the ability to just speak, even in utterance, and a man could be executed. You don't see that for men. If a man says a woman's been abusing him, he's ostracized, criticized, shunned. He's driven out of the society because women don't abuse men. And even though we have every statistic to prove that to be not true. Women abuse men, if not more often than men abuse women. It's just that the reporting is different. How it's handled is different. How our courts profit from it is different. And there is nobody in this country that can make me believe that they don't know that this system is rigged and biased against men. It's literally written into the laws. You heard Donnie say Title 4D. Everybody's heard that. But how many people can actually repeat the next line I'm about to say? Title 4D is literally written in the male pronoun language to target a man. He will pay support. He will do this. He will do that. And then how many of you idiots out there, and when I say idiots, those that use the court to your benefit to do this kind of stuff, not for justice, not for due process, but to use it as a tool to for your nefarious purpose. Why do you think there's Title 4D? Title 4D goes after the dad because it's written in male pronoun. Title 4E goes after mom. So you, as a woman, go to the court. You want full custody, sole legal, you want child support, you want housing, you want this, you want that, you want the other. So you make the government your essentially new baby daddy. And then because you have taken away and stripped the legal protections from that child and their father, or your children and their father, it's like, imagine like this. Your legal rights and your lawful and constitutional rights to your children are like a force field shield around the Starship Enterprise. And when you take away dad, you have just reduced your shields by 50%. And make no mistake about it, that same court that's helping you commit that crime is not your friend either. Not your friend at all. Because the moment you make one slip, they've got Title 4E, and that was written for mothers. And they know how to get rid of you too. So instead of your protection for your child being at 100%, and you actually being an adult and working through your issues, you look at the short-term gain instead of the long-term problem. That's the truth. So when these women lose their custody to CPS, 95% of the time, I don't care. 95% of the time. Because the first question I say is, where's dad? And I get the same story out of 99 out of 100 of you. Dad was abusive, I went to court, and they took away his rights. Yet, we have the statistics that prove that half of you are lying out of 100 people. Half of you are straight up lying about abuse, neglect. Half of you. I stick 100 women in a room and say half of you are lying, tell me who's lying, and 100 of you will still say you're not lying. Even though we got the statistics to prove it. Does this hurt your feelings? Because it's true. It should. Because at the end of the day, when you lose your child to CPS, you've denied the father due process. And then you're going to be denied due process as well, and then you get mad. You get mad that you're not getting a trial by jury, but you didn't afford that trial by jury to the father of your child. No one should lose their parental rights without due process and a trial by jury based on facts and evidence. Without due process and a trial by jury based on beyond a reasonable doubt. That we have beyond a reasonable doubt suspicion to believe that this parent is an immediate threat to their child. Because that person wasn't an immediate threat to their child the day that you were humping to make the child, were they? They weren't an immediate threat when your child was born, were they? Statistically, no. But you had to create a villain. And this is a societal problem. This isn't just a court problem. The court's there just to profit from it. The court and the government are just there to profit from it. Which makes them a bunch of sick fucking bastards. And you're right. They should be held accountable. And I pray to God in 2019, a lot of these sick fucking human trafficking bastards are held accountable. How do we do that? I'm running for governor again in 2022. I'll use my voice. That's all I can do right now. But if you want to take up powder and arms, again, they've got a system for that too. They've got a system for that too. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to take up arms. Yeah, you'll be painted out as a psychopath. You will be shot by a sniper before you could even do anything. And if that's the way you want to go down, that's the way you're going to go down. But again, we have to stand up. We have to unite. And how do we unite when you have all these non-fraud, you have these fraud prophets trying to turn it into a circus? And in my opinion, are literally paid by grant money, paid or in search of grant money, because again, these non-profit Title IV or these non-profit C3s, whatever, they just want money. It's not that anybody that'll tell you different that is just an idiot. We've been through this too long, America. We've been in this too long to allow these people to continue. Some are out there saying you can arrest judges. If you follow that stupid advice, you deserve the shit that's coming your way. These people were elected in their communities, and they know it, which is why you'll never be successful. Unless you have beyond a reasonable doubt of abuse, neglect, or fraud upon a court, and you can prove it, you will never get a judge off a bench. But yet these people will take credit. We've seen it. And you're right, they can't kill us all. A tree of liberty is watered with the blood of patriots and tyrants. It's a harsh reality, absolutely. But the problem that I see is not a lack of care from certain individuals. Because again, I will go back to, there are incredible people out there doing incredible things that are raising awareness to the problem. And they are doing it and operating within the way that the system wants these to be redressed. There has to be somebody that does that. So be careful who you're throwing arrows at or shooting arrows at, because you might shoot the messenger that's willing to wake up a congressman or a senator, be willing to make that stand right there in front of them. Kristi Noem, governor-elect of the state of South Dakota. She'll be inaugurated on January 5th. Who do you think is going to her inauguration? Who do you think is going to sit here and go, hey, Kristi, do you remember the unconstitutional courts of equity depriving parents of their fundamental liberty interest under the color of law without due process? Guilty until proven innocent, otherwise known as Admiralty Law Maritime Jurisdiction. Committing treason against the people. Are you going to operate that system? Are you going to be the CEO of a system that has literally killed, raped, molested, beaten, bruised countless children, not only in this state, but every other state in this union, and profited from it? Are you going to be the CEO, the leader of that for the next 4 years? Have more names going on Nancy Barton's fence? Sick. So yeah, I was hoping I would have had half the screen with the Dark Troubadour today. Let's just get a little more back in here. Every time I listen to him, man, every time my brain just jumps to a 5,000 miles per hour.
So you have to cook the book somewhere. It's basic math, basic accounting. Accept it, move on. I have no expectations of getting a Social Security check when I retire. Don't want a Social Security check when I retire.
I don't know why.
I would like to take that money that was forcefully taken out of my check without my consent and invest that money into a retirement fund or an account of my choosing that allows me to exercise the personal responsibility to go and manage my own financial future.
What is freedom? What is financial freedom? When we're all under capitis diminutia maxima and 99.99999% of the country doesn't understand what I just said right there. And as Agent P has stated here, you know, everyone is shit scared of losing a gravy train. So you guys would much rather participate willingly in the human trafficking of American children from American parents through unconstitutional American courts and have that on your conscience every day you live, and somehow pretend you're good people, honorable, noble people. Robbing Social Security blindly, and we can prove it. Everything that we've been able to prove over the last few years is fact. Now, like I said, there's been your fraud organization groups. There's been people that claim they're getting children back home with absolutely zero evidence to that. Just to, I mean, again, if you're out there saying, I've got the answer, you don't, and you're wrong. You are 100% wrong. Even I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm saying I believe I have some answers to some problems, but not all. But I can certainly point out the problems, and I'm certainly going to use my life to stand up against it. At the end of this video, Donnie makes it very clear why he's doing what he's doing. I'll make it very clear why I'm doing what I'm doing. My children will not face this tyranny. And I know there's people that don't like that word. That's fine. But everybody that's lived it, everybody that's been through it, everybody that has been affected by it, in 2019, we can't keep allowing fraud organizations to be at the forefront. We can't keep allowing the Messiah complex that somebody's going to save everybody. Donald J. Trump knows all too damn well about this problem. We've got the proof. So even Donald J. Trump is silent about the human trafficking of American children from American parents through unconstitutional American courts, depriving them of their fundamental liberty interests without substantive due process of law, nor their constitutional rights being protected. As the fundamental liberty interest defined by the Supreme Court to be a parent is an unalienable right under the word liberty. It's a fundamental liberty interest. And the only way that can be deprived of you is with substantive due process of law. And so even Donald J. Trump is the CEO of the largest human trafficking industry in this world. These children get off into all the foster care systems, and every day it's a new story about a foster care person beating, raping, molesting, killing, torturing, children malnourished. But yet they want to make nice Netflix movies about my first family, my instant family. They want to sit here and have you more worried about children that are not in the United States. And you fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. Because you're an idiot. Because you deserve to be called an idiot. Because you're an apathetic piece of shit. Now, I'm not saying that you can't like other things, you can't enjoy your little things that does disconnect your mind, but at the end of the day, if this is not on your mind, if you can apathetically walk through this world knowing that this is happening and you're not doing anything about it, again, we can talk about it all day long. There's nothing wrong with talking about it. There's nothing wrong with doing a podcast about it. There's nothing wrong with doing a radio interview about it. There's nothing wrong with raising awareness for it. Where I draw the line is when you say that you have the answer. When you say that this is how it's got to be done. This is the solution. When most of it comes out tantamount to being declared a sovereign citizen, losing your constitutional rights, losing any government benefit there could possibly be for you or your children, and renouncing your citizenship. That's literally what some of these groups are doing. And they should be brought down. They are practicing law without a license. 100%. And in 2019, it should be taken down. But then there's good people out there that are waking people up. And they know who they are. And again, I will go back to, don't shoot every messenger that's putting on a suit to try to get into their ball. But if they turn coat, then consider them an enemy. Don't consider them an ally in this.
But I keep seeing calls for peace, calls for diplomacy. We need to meet with these legislators. We need to petition the White House. We need to petition Donald Trump. We need to petition Mike Pence. Folks, let me give you a little rundown. Michael Pence, as some of you may or may not know, before becoming vice president, was also a congressman. Michael Pence, as some of you may or may not know, was also governor of Indiana. And Michael Pence, as some of you may or may not know, had a career before he got into all this stuff on the federal level. Does any of you know what his profession was before he got involved? Anybody?
Human trafficking.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Human trafficking.
He was a lawyer.
Human trafficking. Essentially the same thing. And this is just the first 9 minutes of this video. And I think it is one of the better videos made in 2019. And again, to the Dark Troubadour, I can't control Facebook. I can't control when they make it so that two people can't have a conversation. But one thing they can't do is stop the Internet Warlord podcast tonight. So hopefully you'll be able to call in and we'll just have an audio broadcast discussion about this. And you keep lighting your cigarette here and I keep thinking I need one. So anyway, shout out to Rep Rider, Rep Fire Radio, Rep Valley, South Dakota. How you doing tonight, sir? Or today, sir? Glad to see you on here. How do we stop human trafficking? We charge as the people all those that are committing human trafficking with treason. Publicly accuse every one of them of treason. And I've been saying it for a year and a half now. It is treason to human traffic American children from American parents in American courts without constitutional rights, without substantive due processes of law, denying parents their fundamental liberty interest to be a parent to their child without substantive due process of law or a trial by jury. Does the Constitution not mean anything in 2019 or 2018? Because to me it didn't. But yet there's so many people that are proud to be an American, where at least they know they're free. It's sickening. It's propaganda. It's brainwashing. And you fall for it, hook, line, and sinker, like the fucking idiot you are. It's sick. It's sick. So, and anyways, hey, real quick, while I'm live and you can see my face, I'm not somebody that says you can't sell a t-shirt. I'm not somebody that says you can't sell a coffee mug or a shirt. I like commerce. I like that. I have no problem with it. Like, for example, here's an Internet Warlord coffee mug. Here's an Internet Warlord sweatshirt. I got a hat coming too. But I'm not the one sitting here saying, buy my shirt, buy my book, and you'll get your children back. I just like to have my own brand. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Just know the difference. This is not, nowhere on here does this say stop family law corruption. It says it's the war for the internet. Nothing more, nothing less. I will say that though, and I'll defend capitalism and I'll defend branding yourself all day long. But when you brand yourself to fight the family law court, like I said, it's one thing to have a common cause, a goal, and to be your own entity in your brand and talk about what you want. But when you focus and narrow in on one subject like these nonprofits do, then tell you to join their classes, donate, read their book, buy this t-shirt, buy that, do this, that's where I get the problem. If you want to wear a brand and you know, talk about crafting, talk about crocheting, fishing, just being a shock jock, I don't care. But when your main topic is family law, the main topic, and the one that you are trying to make a financial earning off of, then yeah. Me, I'm all about any topic, any day, any time, any place. Family law is on my top of my bucket list, as are many other things. But there is not one thing that I am more passionate about than family law reform. Only because I'm living it. And everybody that's been watching me has been watching it. It's my number one enemy. So, I've never get my head around parents denying contact but wanting money from the parent they're denying contact. The government will jail you for being denied access. Cause of fact. But they will say it's because you're not paying for the denied access. Exactly. It's kidnapping for ransom. It's pay to play parenting. It's like renting your own child. And then people want to pretend like they don't know. What do you mean there's children being trafficked in human trafficking in family courts? What do you mean? Donnie, I love when you bust into that. What do you mean that there's children that are being raped, molested, beaten, bruised, battered in foster care? What do you mean? We don't know. We see no evil. We hear no evil. We speak no evil. What do you mean? It's stupid. And every single one of you know. And then and again, these lines have been so regurgitated. Oh, he's just doing it for fame. Yeah, okay. So I want to be dragged through the mud, beaten, bruised, battered, have my children taken from me, extorted, exploited, jailed, debtor's prison, rights violations. I want all that just so I can get your fucking approval. How fucking stupid do people think you are? I think if you think that way, you're a fucking idiot. And I have no problem saying it. What do you mean they're violating the Constitution? I'm proud to be an American. I support the troops. What do you mean? If the government actually protected your rights, the Marine Corps would be blowing holes in every courthouse in America. If the military actually upheld the Constitution. If the military actually had an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, there would be judges getting grenades right through their face if the government actually protected your rights. There would be judges, lawyers, attorneys, politicians, all being hung from the neck until dead if they actually upheld the Constitution of this country. Oh, but then you got your whole audience. Oh, the Constitution's been suspended. Not in my world. Not in my world. It's the law of the land. What happened to the Constitution? Whatever happened to the Fifth Amendment? The Seventh Amendment? In criminal prosecutions, the accused, i.e. my child's mother, kidnapping of my child, the right to a speedy and public trial. Where is that? Where is that? But if the Marine Corps and the Army and the Navy and the Coast Guard and Air Force, if all of you guys were actually upholding your oath, there would be bullet holes in courtrooms and judges' chambers and lots of blood inside that courtroom of tyrants being spilled because they're domestic terrorism. I do solemnly support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. But because this government sends all our troops to foreign wars, you forget what a domestic terrorist looks like. And then when a veteran gets out, a veteran realizes, oh shit, there are a ton of domestic terrorists in this country that are violating the Constitution and breaking their oaths that they're supposed to uphold. And you wonder why the suicide rate in veterans is so high. You wonder. Oh, why would veterans kill themselves? It must be all PTSD from the illegal wars we send them to for war profiteering, just like we just found out. And like I've been saying for a decade, there's over $2 trillion in mineral resources in Afghanistan. And you guys think it's over geopolitical differences of religion. You fucking idiots. Idiots. See what the Dark Troubadour does to a guy? He gets them all riled up. If you haven't been listening, you're not paying attention, in which case you have an attention span that can only be measured in nanoseconds. And I can't fix that. In suits of common law, where the value of controversy shall exceed $20, the right to a trial by jury shall be preserved. And no fact tried by a jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any court of the United States than according to the rules of common law. So when you're denied a jury trial in the United States, and your fundamental liberty interest has been taken without jury trial, they can't sit there and say it's already been tried. It hasn't already been tried. There was no jury. It's still depriving you of your fundamental right under the color of law. But again, if this government was actually constitutional, then you would not have countless parents having their children kidnapped and human trafficked, all for a profiteering system, and everybody wants to play ignorant. Oh, well, wait for the big CNN news article that's going to break the story. Like that's going to fix it. We'll wait for Fox News to tell us all what to think. Like that's going to fix it. We have a societal problem. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime, where the parties shall have been duly convicted by trial by jury, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So you are creating a slave population in an unconstitutional court with an unconstitutional process, denying people of their constitutional rights and placing them into slavery, or as I've been stating, capitis demimutia maxima. And we're just going to pretend like the problem is the person talking about the problem instead of the problem itself. Because that's how people are. They're stupid. I'd rather not talk about the problem, because then people will think I'm the problem. I want to be popular for my Facebook audience and get as many views as I can. And by the time people realize that it's down to the last 2 viewers, that I've spoken every bit of possible truth I can, you think I give a fuck about your opinion. Because it's all been truth. I don't do this for your views. I don't do this for your likes. I don't do this for your shares. I've been speaking the truth regardless of how many people watch or don't watch, because I don't give a fuck. But the people that do have the views, the people that do have the voice, the people that do have the reach and the platform, eventually you're going to be called out too. Eventually you're going to be called out too. And what are you going to say when we watch you selling t-shirts like you're the most patriotic of patriots in the patriot world? Don't tell you how to freedom. Oh, I don't have to talk about that. Okay. You have children. When your child grows up and then they're put through this system, beaten, raped, abused, molested, killed, murdered, trafficked, you're going to wish you took a stand against it. When your grandchildren, when you're an old pappy and your grandchildren are going through it, you're going to wish you took a stand against it. 2019 better be the year that America takes a stand against this human trafficking. 2019 better be the year that we call out those that are profiteering by staying silent, staying ignorant, sitting there saying they support and defend this, while at the same time turning a blind eye to the human trafficking that is the United States government. Oh, I want to support the blue team. I'm going to support the red team. I'm going to support the yellow team. The green team. Doesn't matter what team you're on. If you're staying apathetic to it, you will be called out. You're sitting there right now, you're making a comfortable living, selling God Bless America t-shirts, but you don't talk about the human trafficking in this country, you will be called out. Everybody should be tested in 2019. Everybody. And by 2020, let's hope that there are public executions of those that have committed treason against the Constitution and the people of the United States. Yep, that's right. But I still advocate for their due process. That means judges, lawyers, attorneys, politicians. I still advocate for the rights that you deny people. But if you have taken the life, the liberty, or the pursuit of happiness from any American without substantive proper due process of law, you should be tried for the crimes against humanity and the treason against the Constitution that you've committed. End of discussion. And like I stated before, what happens when my generation, the last generation with half a brain cell running through their brain noodle, who can still articulate the Constitution and the rights violations that the generations before us have placed upon this generation, What happens when we start to execute your leaders? And not in the civil disobedient way, but through the courts and due process, the same way that you've done this and put us all into slavery. What happens when we're the ones? Because I guarantee you, my grandchildren's grandchildren will never say that their grandfather ever went against the Constitution of the United States. And I will uphold my oath against domestic terrorism. And the Dark Troubadour is 100% right. What these courts are doing is domestic terrorism. And if anybody's got a problem with me saying that, you can kiss my ass. I'm not doing this for your politically correct propaganda machine to, hey, elect me governor. Everybody in South Dakota knows that if I was elected governor, this system would be taken down on day one. Everybody knows it. And you would want an asshole to say, hey, guess what? All these judges, lawyers, bar associations, politicians that have been profiting off of the human trafficking, you're facing tribunals. Every single one of you. And the people of South Dakota know it. Every single one of you. Don't worry. We'll follow the Constitution. Because you guys don't. Which is your biggest problem. Anyways, have a good day or don't. Choice is always yours. Again, I've shared the Dark Troubadour Donnie Castro's video if you want to go back and listen to it. Again, it'd be my honor to have him call in on Internet Warlords tonight, and we can have that conversation. You might not like either of our tone. You might not like our abrasive nature. You might not like the way that we articulate the problem, nor the way that we articulate any given solution to any given problem. But the answer to crimes against humanity is the Constitution, and to hold those accountable that have committed those crimes against humanity. And again, I'm not doing this for your likes, your views, your shares, your comments, none of that. I'm doing this so that way my daughters, my children, my grandchildren, my future generations that are not even on this earth will know what a constitutional government actually looks like. In 2019, you're going to watch me go to a governor-elect, the first female governor of South Dakota. You're going to watch me go to her inauguration, Kristi Noem. I'm going to tell it to you like this. You have a choice just like anybody else. And again, the choice is always yours. You don't get to play ignorant. You don't get to play stupid. Although you do a good job at it sometimes, you don't get to keep playing that. I will hold you accountable. And I will run against you in 2022. And every slip, every mistake, everything you do, I will bring forward. You can call me the biggest asshole on the planet. You can make campaign ads with every video of me saying something inappropriate, stupid, out of colorful character and satirical nature, whatever it may be. But there's one thing you will never be able to take from me, and is that I am the only candidate that was in that race that even understands or knows the Constitution and the treaties. You don't. The Native tribes didn't say that about you. They said it about me. So I would suggest you listen to what a guy who actually knows the Constitution and the treaties has to say. So that way you, when your grandchildren's grandchildren talk about the first female governor of South Dakota, they don't talk about the treasonous first female governor of South Dakota. They talk about the constitutional governor that you could be, and that you were, if you would do it the right way. But right now, you're not going to. You're going to become the CEO of a corporation known as South Dakota acting as a government. Everybody knows it, and you admitted it. So like I said, the choice is yours. and 2019 is not the year that you should sit there and keep playing stupid to it. That being said, tonight, about maybe 4 or 5 hours from now, Internet Warlord will be live. InternetWarlords.com. Special guest, Donnie Castro, the Dark Troubadour, your neighbor, your friendly neighborhood Dark Troubadour. And again, sorry I couldn't get you on here, Donnie. I don't know if you're still on or not, but you put me right into a rant mode myself. Again, to the good people that are going to stand up and speak about this human trafficking in 2019, I commend you. I appreciate you. I'll stand with you. But those that are going to play ignorant to it, you're just as guilty as the next. Alright guys, have a good night or don't. Choice is always yours. We'll see you in a little bit.